So last night I think I tried my first attempt. I was feeling inspired, and in my thinking, I used a external microphone plugged into the camera, and that was awful quiet. But or perhaps it's my mixing of the video. I don't know. Either way, tonight I'm just trying the straight camera, and what's hilarious is I have probably better cameras and a box full of microphones and stands and everything else in the other room, but for some reason I'm never organized enough to use it, and the thought of digging all of that out makes me not want to speak. But tilting my phone up on a tripod and hitting record is a lot easier, and I'll try to make the visuals tonight a little bit more interesting. But um, I'm learning as I go here, and I'll get a better setup, and I'll just try to speak up in the meantime. But like I feel like compelled to speak again, and to get this right and to become better at this, and perhaps share my experience with the world, and if it resonates with anyone, um, and they communicate that to me, maybe that will be a meaningful feeling. I'm not sure. It's never happened, so let's try it, right? And but last night I kind of griped about a specific situation going on in my life, but um, today I'm gonna try to be more uh, uh, use more general terms, and but um, I find myself just you know hearing this phrase in my mind. I don't know where I heard it or who we can attribute it to, but it's wherever you go, there you are. And when I hear that, I think, this explains this feeling I have inside of me lately that is so strong. It's kind of one that is dying to express itself, is dying to communicate with others, and it's dying to be heard, and or to matter, or have some sort of voice in the world. And at any rate, when I think our modern world, we have a lot of capacity for distraction, and like what you're looking at right now is two 4K TVs displaying different things, and this is sort of how I hang out in my living room. I might be watching a movie on the right TV, and playing this video game on the left, right? And some video game. And some people will say, "Oh, he's a grown man playing video games," and I don't really care. I don't have any kids. I pay my mortgage and taxes, and there are worse things I could be doing. But I find it's more mentally challenging than just watching some sitcom, for example, But point being, whatever it is, you're reading a book, you're watching a movie and playing a video game, you're doom scrolling, you're reading Substack, whatever it is, unless you're probably studying for something or pursuing some sort of specific knowledge. Just gonna breathe for a minute. I don't know if that ever happens to y'all. Just the world. I seek to be understood often and feel excited, and have to remember to watch my pace. But I think we spend a lot of time and energy, billions of dollars, and multiple streams of entertainment to distract ourselves, sports, music, movies. Some of it's life, some of it's entertainment that brings life, and some of it is distraction. It's like any drug, it can be good or bad. Water can be, you need it every day to live, but if you drink too much, you'll die, right? Or salt. So, but I find when I work physically hard, I cannot think about the things that are not going the way I want them to in my life. Like my social life or my love life or etc. Mostly spots in my life that you cannot completely control, where I can decide I can hang out at home on a Saturday night like it is right now and decide this is a good time, we're having a good time, or decide this is awful. And sometimes with me over the last 6 months, it varies depending on which 20 minutes it is. And like I was saying, I find a lot of physical hard work or being very busy at work or working in the yard and to near exhaustion and things like that. Having a cleaning spree for 4 hours straight with music really loud, they help you to get a lot of things done and not have to reflect on your life, But wherever you go, there you are, And you could like board a plane and have, if you had just someone else was paying the bills and said just to go wherever you want, here's my private jet, and you could just go anywhere in the world, and lay on the nicest beach. Unless you're a psychopath, you're probably going to be thinking about your problems to some degree. You're either a liar or you're a psycho. If you're not, if you're not worried about whether you turn the coffee maker off or whether you should have paid that bill before you left the house or something. And You know, the in life, if you are around people and you're spending energy on them to have a relationship with them, but they decide that they don't want to put their priority into you anymore, they still want to receive the benefits of being around you, but they don't really want to spend any energy on developing your relationship or how you're doing. Then, at some point you have to take everyone's advice and try to just kind of pull back a little and say, okay, well, I just need to take care of me. And, you know, I've tried to do that, especially as a guy. I've gone through a divorce recently. That was, not something I ever expected to do in my life, but I'm trying to figure it out. And uh, you know, it's very interesting the different ways that people handle situations like this. Some people would lose a long-term relationship that they claimed was very dear to them, and they would be devastated. They have to rewire how they speak about everything. That's something I've had to do. I've had to say, if I'm speaking to my mom and she says, "What are y'all doing for a holiday?" And I'll say, "Oh, I can't say we anymore. I have to say I, or my house, or, my dog." It's so bizarre because for a decade I was saying, or 15 years I was saying, our house, our dog. So there's just a lot to rewire in there, period. No matter if it was a good or a bad relationship or trauma or not. And some people handle that, I think, in ways that I do not comprehend, but I'm not trying to judge. But personally, I have to be at least about this far out. I'm about 7 months plus out from that now. And finally, the sentences I make or the thoughts I have to myself when I'm at the store are not like, I wonder what this person would want from the store while I'm here, or if they would want some flowers, or if they'd want kombucha. And, when you live with someone and at their hip for 15 years like that, you program yourself, you are programs to think in terms of we, us. At least I was, especially as the guy, and I came from people who taught me that the men buy and open doors and, uh, pay the bills. And I'm very open minded. If some lady loves the sound of my voice and wants to just start buying all my dinners, that's fine. that's that would be just fine. I'm currently taking applications. I mean, I don't know how emotionally invested I can be at the moment, but physically I could be. Oh wait, I'm. You're like, this was a talk about philosophy, and now he's a 12-year-old. kid. But this is probably because I live alone in the woods, and it's like I live in solitary confinement. I talk to the birds outside, my dog, and my counselor, and I chat with other people like my mom and friends. But yeah. Anyway, and some friends, we send memes back and forth. You know how that is. But I don't know. I'm in a spot in life where most people have several kids. Those kids may be going to college. Uh, Not to date myself, but some maybe not. But and they're working on their second or third marriage. They're uh, or second or third career, and due to circumstances in life, I expended a lot of energy externally to remain where I was in life, and which, saying that now, sounds like an idiotic trade, but at the time it seemed like it was an obligation that I needed to fulfill, to hold my head up and feel like I was a decent person. And you know life or the universe has saw fit to grant me freedom from the marriage I was in and the trauma bond situation I had going on, and what I think I'm slowly identifying now was a emotionally abusive relationship, not necessarily on my part, but on my ex-wife's part, who struggles with borderline personality disorder, PTSD, and deep trauma. And, you know, I struggle with being a people pleaser and enabling way too much of that. And she was right. I did become boring, but it was because I had to be her emotional thermometer for nearly a decade. And I don't know if you've ever tried to do that for someone, but it's very hard. And I feel spent on that front, but I'm ready to laugh and look on the bright side of things again. Maybe life can be easier or just less contentious. But I'm alone, and so I find it hard sometimes on Saturday night like this. It's normally right now most people might be at a bar having a drink with friends, might be on their way home from a movie, might be uh, doing more fun things horizontally with their friends, or and here I sit at home, and I have a house. I could host a party if I wanted, but I'm just where I live, I don't know anyone that would want to come. And where I'm from, if I lived there, I'd invite 10 people, and 3 would be free, and 2 would remember it, and and I would still have fun. But there'd always be some reminder that I'm not the top dog when it comes to social hierarchies, and um, neurotypical hierarchies, social invitations, and anyway. But I was rambling about distractions. So often when I'm by myself and the TV cuts out, or the internet's cut out, or the power's off, or so I'm in a rural sort of place, and this happens a lot, and I'm left with my own thoughts. And you can try to read a book, you can try to watch a movie, try to, like, I have more video games than 10 people could play in a lifetime. But I have it open, but I may not play it but 20 minutes a night, because I'm trying to cook dinner, I'm trying to make sure the dog has food, and, um, sitting still is important, to, some say you need to meditate, right? Which is like, some would say you need to clear your mind of all thoughts. Well, which is a near impossible task, or just let them come in one ear and out the other, or, don't hold on or focus on any of them, and don't even focus on the idea of not focusing on thoughts, and or some methodologies might say just be more mindful that you're having thoughts, and let them be free, and etc. And all these work to some degree. Or, like I said, manual labor, physical exercise, same thing. Or, uh, but, or some people might immediately, before they even, are capable of completing sentences with the correct name in them, shack up with the next person and attribute that to happiness in their mind. They'll just like walk right out the door, out of someone's bed, down the, get in their car, drive 30 miles, drive to someone else's parking lot, walk in their door, get in their bed, and now they're their girlfriend. And they don't have to sit with the thoughts on the 7th month on a Saturday night when no one's calling you up and no one is punching your date card, and you can't even worry about it because you're so burnt out on the thought of how you're treated in relationships. How do you get with someone for 15 years? They say they want a divorce even though you fought and fought and fought to make it work, because marriages work. And then they say, I want a divorce, and you say, okay, I'll try to do that as best I can for you. And then you do that. And then they let you know that, or they let the whole world know that as soon as that paperwork is done, they've replaced you with someone else, and you were the problem all along. See, so one person might hear that thought and think, I'm not the problem, fuck that. I certainly wish I had more of that capacity, and I do to some degree, but my main power is questioning everything. So some might call that madness, some might call it intelligence, who knows? And like a person willing to question everything. But you just sort of have to decide in this world where your loyalties stand as a person. Do you come out of the gate and you say, I'm gonna get mine, screw them? Okay, right? That's one way to do it. And if you're good looking and you talk fast enough, you're witty, I guess you can get away with a lot of that. Look at all the con men and such of the world, right? Or like the Ponzi scheme guys. So those guys don't seem to feel very bad about it, right? About what they're doing. Or you can come out of the gate and you can say, I'll play fair, just treat me fair, I'll treat you fair. If not, the gloves are off, and I guess that's how most of us play these days. Like to think, right? But I don't know, some people are like, they don't have a baseline. Their baseline is like a shapeshifter. They get their baseline from who they're with. So you meet someone and all of a sudden they're into doing whatever you're doing. They're complimenting all the stuff you're doing. They're asking you, they're like, you're such an expert at this, this and that. I need to know it all. Just, and they're telling you how smart you are, how great you are, how happy you make them. No one has ever made me this happy. Things like this. That's what I've learned is called a love bomb. And certain people will do this because they know it will have an effect on you. And people that are skilled at this can also read other types of people like myself who tend to be a little bit more empathic or compassionate, or like in my case, I think sometimes I always wanted to fit in somewhere so much that I extend more compassion and understanding to people than I should sometimes. And in doing that, some people take advantage and can get over on me sometimes. Not because, because personally, I don't want to live in a world where I have to carry my daggers every second of every day because anyone I know may stab me in the back. And when you think you know someone and you see them a couple weeks later, a couple months later, and they have changed their spots completely, not because you told them you hate them, not because you told them they're awful, not because you abuse them and such, but you just said, okay, I hope you'll be happier without me, and I hope, you're safe, and goodbye, and then come to find out that they were probably already communicating with the person that they left you for it's just, I don't know. To the type of person that comes out the gate and just wants a fair shake and wants a spot at the table and wants to help pull their share, and it's devastating, because I know that most people in the world are good people and would not do things like that, but the pattern of people in my life that I have dated is sometimes a one-sided equation. Like, I'm doing them favors and they're kind of tolerating me. And at some point they will get kind of sick of me, and or the disrespect or the abuse or something will start up, the cheating, something or other, and it will break apart. And the only, you have to like try to look at the evidence, and the only thing I can see is that I'm the like common thing between all of those situations. I must have a type in people I prefer to be with, or which I think I'm hoping I can be more conscious of. But also it's like that meme, where it's like God and the angels, and they're sitting around and they're talking about which kind should we send him now, and they're like, and the wheels spinning, and it's like perfect angel, love of his life, and one of them's like, most toxic woman he's ever known. It's for character building. the like I'm with the other memes too that are like, I've had enough of that. Can it just be like, challenge me with riches here? Instead of personal crises, having to rebuild my entire life or moral compass. All right, well, I know this ramble was less focused, but thank you all for listening.